on the highway going a nice steady 60 miles an hour, or whatever, if you're steady, you're getting good gas mileage, maybe 30 miles a gallon, if you own a Toyota. And the gas pedal doesn't stick. But anyway, you're making 30 miles a gallon. Now you get down here on El Camino Real, a stop and go. You're 5 miles an hour, you're stopped. You're 10 miles an hour, then you stop. And you're up at 30, back and forth, back and forth. What happens to your gas mileage? You're down to 5 miles a gallon, right? Traveling shorter distances using more fuel. Same thing happens in power plants. The more they have to do this, it's called ramping. If you want to do a search on ramping. I know. It ends up causing more fuel and hence more greenhouse gases to be emitted than without the wind. Wind is like chocolate. Wind is like chocolate. A little bit is good, but if you have too much in your diet, it's not so good. Right? It's a fallacy of composition. I heard a snide comment from the audience. It kills birds too. Oh yeah. Well, see, that's an example of the favoritism. Wind turbines are the only technology that are given a free ride on the Endangered Species Act. On my way over here, I drove through Livermore, Tracy area, and past Altamont Pass. 500 golden eagles are killed there every year by wind turbines. No kidding. You know, Richard mentioned I used to work at the California Energy Commission. One of the things I started was an avian mortality study. It was back in like 1980. You know, how many of these birds are flying into these Cuisinarts? and there's a bunch. Well, you'd think Fish and Wildlife or somebody would raise a stink. No, they don't. It's just like with corn and ethanol. You know, there are environmental impacts of everything that anybody does. But many in the environmental community, and I don't want to paint with a broad brush because there are some reasonable folks in the environmental community. But they'll pick an issue, be it air quality or water quality or endangered species, and ignore all the other vectors. And that's what's wrong, is you have to look, their favorite term, holistically. What are the trade-offs? Well, I detest that word myself. Second only to sustainability. I was testifying in Congress to the EPW, the Energy and Public Works Committee. And I'm sort of sitting there and responding to questions, and other people are answering questions and stuff's going on, you know. And I keep hearing this word sustainability. Well, we need to move to a more sustainable system. And blah, 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 blah. Mr. Senator, has the system we have ever been not sustained? Has it ever stopped? What do you define as sustainable? Something different or something that works? Well, something that works is what we've got. If it's not broken, don't fix it. I'm going to leave you with a couple thoughts. And then I'm going to open up for questions, I guess. And over here, somewhere, oh, right here, is a microphone. So if you have a question, line up by the microphone. I'm going to ask you to identify yourself and your affiliation, but you don't have to tell me. Because I'm not taking notes. As you can tell by my speaking style. I don't talk from notes, I don't take notes. Oppose any policy in energy or the environment that reduces our productivity. Look carefully, because there are a number of factors of production. Jobs are one, i.e. labor. Labor is one. Energy is a factor of production. Capital is a factor of production. Materials are a factor of production. And you have to take all of them together. I mean, I could solve California's unemployment problem tomorrow by passing a bill that said everybody must have a gardener and everybody must have a nanny. Or we could outlaw tractors. Now, I live in the foothills outside of Sacramento, in a small town, outside a small town called Lincoln. For those of you who don't know where that is, think Auburn, think Old Country. Well, on the weekends, I enjoy driving my tractor. I've got a front-end loader, I've got stuff that goes in the back. It's a diesel tractor with a turbo engine. I can get more done in 8 hours on my tractor than if I hired 100 folks. Well, we could outlaw tractors and put everybody back to work with, spades and pickaxes. It's overall productivity that we need to worry about. Look holistically at the different environmental vectors. Don't allow the environmental extremists to say something is not good enough because they're only focused on one vector, be it endangered species or air or whatever. And keep in mind that perfection is the ultimate enemy of the good. We had one of the cases I had when I was at the Energy Commission was to repower an existing power plant. And by repowering, I mean you take out the old stuff, you put in new stuff, and you improve its efficiency and you improve its output. Well, the problem is they don't look at it, is this an improvement? They look at it, is this good enough? Well, it still had some emissions of pollutants, about 1/10 what it had. It had increased capacity, more megawatts. Not enough to satisfy demand, but we're never going to do that in California because you can't build a power plant anyway. So it was 10 times better than the current situation was not good enough. Right? Don't allow that to happen. Stay conservative in your thoughts. Stay energetic in your actions. Help me out of this damn desert. You're going to have to turn pull it out, turn the switch on, or just talk real loud.
Apparently it works. I'm Robert Whitten. I'm a research scientist, NASA retired, and I've worked in atmospheric science. In fact, I'm still working in atmospheric science, but on the moon of Saturn named Titan. I've researched atmospheric science for about global warming, climate change for about the last 20 years. I have one suggestion, and that has to do with Al Gore's movie. And I would suggest that everybody here check out his movie from Blockbuster or Netflix. You don't watch the movie, you fast forward it till you get to a graph. And that graph shows CO2 and temperature versus time, and it goes back some millions of years. Now, if you see this in the theater, Al Gore will tell you that this correlation, a very close correlation, proves that CO2 is causing climate change. But if you look closely at this graph, you will see that Al Gore is demanding a time flow backwards. That is, the temperature goes up, the CO2 goes up. Temperature goes down, CO2 goes down. CO2 tracks the temperature record very closely. The reason is, of course, the oceans breathe CO2 in and out. Cold water will absorb CO2, warm water will emit CO2, will hold less CO2. So I wish that is, I believe, one of the lies that the British judge determined.